basketball at its best. This game is a special presentation of Cablecom Sports, your local connection to the world.
Good evening. Cablecom Sports presents high school basketball. I'm Ken Mayer along with Tony Lepore, and tonight's game features the Bishop Guilfoyle Marauders and the Central Scarlet Dragons. Here at the outset, let's talk to the coach of the Central Scarlet Dragons, Reggie Nevins. And Reggie, coming off a big win last night against Lewistown. I'm sure the kids are really still high from that victory.
Yeah, they were real excited about the win. We had lost to them twice, two real close games. And so we needed to beat them. We may run into them again, down the stretch here in the playoffs. So they were real excited about the win. But these last 4 or 5 games we have another 3 more next week, just getting us ready for the playoffs. So we're looking forward to this game. We know it's going to be a real intense game.
Sure. Anytime you play Bishop Guilfoyle here on this court, it's a tough game. Obviously, you want to carry the momentum of the win last night into the game against the Marauders tonight.
Yeah, we've been playing pretty well the last 5 or 6 games. We had a dead spell there for a while, but right now we're playing pretty well. We'd like to continue that. And, win or lose, we just want to play well. That's going to be the key,
Okay, good luck tonight.
Thank you.
And Tony Lepore, you have a gentleman you're pretty familiar with, Dave Benton.
Yes, everybody knows. We have a head coach here at Bishop Guilfoyle. Dave, you're coming off a tough loss to State College. How'd that affect the team, and what kind of preparation after this loss do you have to do to get ready for Central?
I think if there's any effect, it would be at the confidence level. I mean, we just haven't been doing things the way we hit a nice stretch there for 4 or 5 games. We played very well. And then we went up to DuBois and lost. I think right now our confidence is suffering. If we get our confidence back, I think you're going to see a much better basketball team. But again, I mean, that's something we just have to work on.
Any special preparation for Central? They're coming off a big win, and I know it's going to be a tough game tonight.
Well, they're very athletic. I think year in and year out, you're not going to get too many teams with the athletes that Central has and the quickness and, all the things that go with athletes. So we didn't do anything especially different. We just kind of prepare ourselves.
Well, good luck, Dave. We're sure to see a good game tonight.
Okay, thanks, Tony.
Back to you, Ken.
Okay, Tony, and we'll be back courtside at Bishop Guilfoyle High School with this message from Cablecom Sports.
What's your idea of Saturday Night Fever? Well, if you had multi-channel HBO, you'd always have 3 great choices every Saturday night. You could go for suspense, a family movie, or maybe a drama. It's your choice. Whatever you're looking for, when you sit down to watch, chances are you'll find it on multi-channel HBO. 3 great channels, 3 great choices. Every Saturday night, choose your HBO.
Welcome to Sam's Satellite City. May I help you?
I'm interested in DBS.
Direct broadcast satellite. You'll need a dish, a receiver, decoders, and converters, connectors, various and sundry electronic components.
I need all this?
This'll get you started. Say, how many TVs do you have?
3.
Well then, you're just gonna need a few more things, aren't you? There you go. Of course, this doesn't include your monthly subscription fees.
That costs extra?
And if you still want to watch local network programming, you'll also need a regular antenna. We have an excellent selection of regular antennas.
Welcome back to Bishop Guilfoyle High School. I'm Ken Mayer along with Tony Lepore for tonight's game between the Bishop Guilfoyle Marauders and the Central Scarlet Dragons. Bishop Guilfoyle coming in with a record of 12-9 under their head coach Dave Benton. The Scarlet Dragons coming in with a record of 17-4. And Tony Lepore, we welcome you in this evening. And of course, Tony, a former player at Altoona High School, a former coach here at Bishop Guilfoyle, and we've invited you in because you're going to take an interesting look at tonight's game.
Well, first of all, Kim, I want to say thanks for the invitation. I enjoy being here. And tonight's going to be a real good game. Yeah, we have 2 good basketball teams here in different classes in District 6. If I'm not mistaken, Central's ranked 2nd. They beat the #1 seed in Class AAA, which was Lewistown. And BG's coming off of, a tough loss to State College, but they beat Lewistown. So I think Dave's concern tonight is the inconsistent play, but they're playing hard and they're going to get better. And Reggie, the kid's got to be excited coming off that big win. And I think we're going to see a good high school basketball game tonight. As far as where this is going to lead them into the playoffs, they're never going to meet each other again in playoffs. But what it's going to do, Cam, is give them a barometer because both teams are athletic and good.
And now let's look at the starting lineups for Central. First, number 10, Joe Kitt, a 5'11 senior. Matt Imes there introduced. The in-between player, I didn't catch who that was. Robbie Keith, 6'3" junior there introduced. And the 6'1" senior, number 34, Matt Lehman. The second player introduced was the 5'11" sophomore Brooks Williams, wearing the number 15. And now let's look at the starting lineups for Dave Benton's Bishop Guilfoyle Marauders. Senior night, so the game getting underway a little later than normal, although on tape delay that really doesn't affect you folks at all. Brad Cayley, a 6'3" junior, the only underclassman in this lineup on senior night. Andy McConnell, a 5'8" senior. He'll wear the number 10. Dave Dietzel, a 6' senior, wearing the number 20. Mike Ratzitzberger, a 6'2" senior, one of 2 returning starters from last year's team. And rounding out the starting 5, a 5'10" senior, Josh Baker. He'll wear the number 42. Of course, if there's momentum, the momentum certainly goes to Central in this game, simply because they're sky high coming off that big win against Lewistown. But you see right there in the huddle, of course, the Bishop Guilfoyle Marauders preparing. If there would be a favored team in this game, would you say that it would be Central?
Well, I'd say it'd be Central if you're looking at the way they played, Ken, but when you come into Guilfoyle, I think that takes a lot of the strength out of the team here.
Tonight's special presentation of high school basketball is presented by your friends at Cablecom Sports of Blair County. And they're the folks that have stepped up, and they wanted to assure the folks from throughout the county of coverage of high school basketball on their local cable system. And so we certainly want to, at the outset, thank the folks at Cablecom Sports for underwriting the cost of these broadcasts. In the JV game, it was a victory for Central, 64-51. Pretty close game after 3 quarters, and then in the 4th quarter, Central pulled away and did a nice job at the foul line. Your assessment of the game before we have the opening tip here, Tony.
Well, yeah, real quick, Cam. I think tonight the team that minimizes their mistakes and controls the offensive and defensive boards is going to be the team that has a distinct advantage. The team that plays smart and gets the ball into the right person's hand who's hot will also have the advantage. But I think we're going to see a good game here. You asked the question earlier, who has the advantage? I would have to say Central to the start because of Mr. Ryan Stokey, but BG plays hard and it's going to be a great game.
And, of course, anytime you come here to Bishop Guilfoyle, you have to be ready as an opponent. And the opening tip is controlled by the home team, the Bishop Guilfoyle Marauders. McConnell with the basketball. Zone defense here at the outset. 2-3 zone defense put up by Central. And trying to pass out, as you see there, kicked out of bounds by Joey Kitt.
And this is a move by Reggie, Cam, to get BG to force him to shoot from the outside. And with Listokey missing, you know, put a little more pressure on. Some people aren't used to putting the 3 up.
Listokey, some big shoes to fill on this Marauder team. Nice move along the baseline, and the shot is good there by number 44, Mike Ratzitzberger.
And that's a good way to attack that zone on the baseline, because if he doesn't block it, you're going to have a drive to the hoop, and that's what Mike did.
That can get frustrating as a coach, though, because you always talk about taking away that baseline.
Right, and there's BG's playing their man-to-man, and Central's running a continuity offense, Cam, and they're going to try to get the ball into their top athletes. Joey Kitt's one of them.
Matt Imes scores, and Central ties the ball game at 2. Still in the first minute of play here at Bishop Guilfoyle High School. Bounce pass onto the right side. Good sharp pass. Trying to go inside, and it's picked off by Kitt. Getting the ball ahead from three-point range, short of the mark. And good hustle there. But the ball comes over to Bishop Guilfoyle. Kitt on the floor trying to pick up the basketball, but as he touched it, his legs were out of bounds.
And I tell you what, Central shows a lot of athleticism, Cam. They move real well in that zone, and that could be frustrating for Guilfoyle if they don't move the ball and pick the open man.
Connell, pass onto the baseline. Good passing inside for an easy 2.
That's a coach's nightmare. That's what they call weak side helping. The guy didn't rotate back, Cam, and it got an easy bucket for Bishop Guilfoyle.
Ratzitzberger, all 4 points for the Marauders. They lead 4-2. 6:20 remaining in the first quarter. Kitt drives down the lane. He's fouled in the play.
I'll tell you what, Cam, we got 2 good athletes going at each other here tonight, Josh Baker and Joe Kitt. The 2 are good athletes, and they're both, very important to this team. So the one who stays out of foul trouble the most is going to be very important.
Andy McCall picks up the foul. To not as good by Kitt. I think Kitt maybe lost the contact on the play. Joey Kitt ties the ball game at 4. And here we go.
I had a situation, Cam. This is where you got the guy that lost the contact. He looks for it and finds it, and you wonder, why does he have a contact anyhow?
I tell you what, I wear contacts. I don't wear them all the time, but I know there have been times where when you lose one, when you're putting them in, you can't find it right away.
Exactly.
You call and you ask for help.
Well, it's appropriate that the referee found it, with a sharp eye there.
There you go. 3 officials in the game, and a lot of time this time of year, the teams will use 3 officials for the officials' benefit, as well as for the benefit of the teams themselves to get used to 3 officials. That's what they're going to see in the playoffs.
Right, and there aren't too many schools that don't use 3 officials, Cam. I think Altoona High might be one of the very few that doesn't, but in districts, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they use 3 all the time.
Yeah, I believe so. I guess we'll find out, though, if we're wrong.
That's right. Guilfoyle's going to have to be patient here, Cam, and move the ball and hit the open man.
Yeah, and that's what they do there. But moving around the defender, and a nice pass inside, a layup with the left hand. Shot good by Dave Dietzel, and it's 6-4. BG on top. 5:50 remaining in the first quarter of play.
That was excellent ball movement without the ball, and he got an easy bucket, and credit Josh Baker for looking to the assist and grabbing that rebound.
Baker with the boards after the Kitt miss. Connell looks inside, passes left.
That's Josh's shot, Cam, right there.
Misses, and Kitt comes out in a hurry with the basketball. Never stops and drives to the baseline where he is fouled. Foul's going to be called against number 42, Josh Baker. He picks up his first, and Kitt's going to go to the line this time, and he'll shoot 2 and try to tie the ball game at 6.
And you could see right there the kind of athlete Joe Kitt is. He ran the floor very well. He used his left hand on the left side, and he's very fundamentally sound, and that's key. That's a key to Joe Kitt.
Kitt hits the first. 6-5 the score, 5:19 remaining here in the first quarter of play. Bishop Guilfoyle and Central doing battle at Bishop Guilfoyle High School, and Kitt puts them both in, and we have a tie ball game at 6. 5:18 remaining. McConnell drops it off inside, off the rim, won't stay in, and a rebound is controlled by Keith.
That's a nice cut by Mike Ratzitzberger. He just was falling away when he shot the layup and didn't have enough strength to put it up there, Cam.
Bishop Guilfoyle, man-on-man defense. Muscling his way to the basket. We're going to have a double dribble called against Imes.
That was a good call. He picked the ball up on his step across the basket. Then he saw he couldn't score, Cam, and he put it down again and got called for the double dribble. But you'll see Guilfoyle forcing the ball player to the baseline. That's where they want to get him to restrict his area on defense. It's very important they do that. When they don't do that, they're going to be in trouble.
McConnell at the point, moving it onto the baseline and back outside. Good pass to a cutting number 20, Dave Dietzel. He's gotten a couple of points that way, a couple of baskets, I should say, and BG's back up on top, 8-6. 4.5 minutes remaining here in the first quarter play. Both teams pretty deliberate offensively, not forcing their shots. Here's a nice look inside. The shot is good, and a foul inside is called against Ratzitzberger. He picks up his first and will give the basket to Matt Lehman, 6'1" senior, with his first basket of the night, and he'll go to the line to try to make it a three-point play and give Central their first lead of the evening.
And we're seeing both teams move the ball well offensively, Cam. And what Guilfoyle did in their last possession is they're spreading that 2-3 out, and they're getting the cutter on the opposite wing flashing to the middle, which is always open.
Missed the opportunity to put Central on top. Bishop Guilfoyle with the defensive rebound.
BG's got to be patient on this. They got to get their shot, Cam. They just can't throw the ball up there.
Pass into the key, onto the right side, and the shot is there. Three-banger, Josh Baker. And BG goes up on top at 11-8, midway through the first quarter of play.
That was good execution on the offensive part because they worked inside out. They got the ball inside and kicked it out.
Spinning to the basket, we have a blocking foul called against number 20, Dave Dietzel. Dietzel picks up his first. BG's picked up 4 fouls, but they've been able to spread them among 4 different players.
Right, and you know, and I tell you what, I've been witnessing some things out here, Kim. Central's guards are very explosive off the dribble. They have their first steps very quick, and that could give BG a problem because both times now between Kit and number 15 here, I don't have his name.
Brooks Williams.
Brooks, he's quick to the basket. So if BG gets their guards in trouble without Listoki in there, they're going to have to go deep on their bench, and it could create a problem.
Chris Moses, number 43, checks into the Central lineup. Williams, a sophomore in the starting lineup for Reggie Nevins, misses them both. And the rebound controlled by the Marauders. Brad Cayley with the rebound. Bishop Guilfoyle leading 11-8. 3:35 remaining. Skipping bounce pass onto the left corner. Boy, nice ball movement inside. Can't finish it off. Ratzitzberger can't put it in the hole. And a rebound controlled by Central.
And there was a good example of moving the defense, Cam. That's just what BG did, but they couldn't capitalize and finish the play. But it's a great offensive move by Rats.
Kitt, 15-foot jumper, puts it in. Joe Kitt, 6 points in the basketball game.
A lot of these names I refer as nicknames because my last stint of coaching here, these people were sophomores and they played under me. So that's why I call them Mike Rats. That's what I always called them.
11-10, BG still up by a point. Of course, Tony, a former assistant here at Bishop Guilfoyle High School. A couple of stints, correct?
Yeah, you and I got our start together when I was head coach, and you got into the broadcasting, and you broadcasted our games, Cam. And then
that's right.
When I left and got into another profession, I came back as assistant under Dave Benton from, I think, 89 to 93.
That was back in, what, the mid-70s?
Right. I was under Tom Lane as an assistant, then I came back 74 to 78 as the head coach.
That foul there called against number 43, Chris Moses. That's his first called against Central. So BG inbounds it. Hard to believe, Tony. That's been
I know.
over 20 years ago.
We don't have to talk about that, Cam. I've had my 30th reunion already.
Oh, my. On the baseline and out of bounds with the basketball is Ratzitzberger. And so the ball comes back over to the Central Scarlet Dragons. They come into the game with a record of 17-4 under their veteran head coach Reggie Nevins in his 14 seasons. 256 wins, 115 losses.
Reggie's done a good job out in the Cove area. He's made, in the last couple years, they've been very competitive, Ken.
And Brooks Williams, the jumper, almost the same spot that Kit his just 30 seconds ago, and it's Central into the lead now, 12-11. Bishop Guilfoyle looking to connect. They have not since Josh Baker hit the three-banger. Baker comes back, misses this shot. Offensive rebound by Cayley, gets it stripped away, and we're going to have an overruling of the call. The one official called it a jump ball, but the other official steps in and says, no, it was a walk. And so the ball comes over to Central without the advantage of the possession arrow.
Brad went to the ball aggressively, just didn't have control of it, and Central player got his hands in and knocked away, and he got called for a walk as he had possession.
This time Williams brings it up across the timeline. Gets it off to Kitt. BG playing man-to-man defense. Swinging around. Left side. Shot misses. Good rebound there by Baker. Kitt going for the steal. You got to keep your eyes open when he's around.
Exactly. He's coy. He'll get in his way. There's a bad pass by Andy.
Tried to force it inside, tipped away, and Central comes up with it. They'll look to add to their 1-point lead with 1:20 remaining. And here's a nice steal. We have a tie-up, and we'll see which way the possession arrow is pointing. Apparently the ball will stay on the Central end. So the possession arrow keeps the ball in the hands of the Scarlet Dragons. Into the basketball game is number 20. It's Jeremy Ebersol. He's into the game replacing Robbie Keith. Central will inbound the basketball. It's Williams with the ball. Brings it out. Top of the circle. They'll set up their offense with 1:14 left in quarter number 1. Central leading by 1, 12-11. On to the left side. 18-footer is good by Joe Kitt. He's got 8 here in the first quarter.
That's a good defensive job by Josh Baker on Kitt, but Kitt pulled up and made a tough jump shot, and you can do nothing but applaud him on that because both guys did their job.
Central very active zone defense. Pass goes inside, tipped away and off the hands of Central out of bounds. So BG will try it again with 45 seconds remaining here in the first quarter of play, trailing by 3, 14-11. Shot from the right side, off the iron, and the rebound pulled out, coming out in a hurry like a ball of fire. Kitt hesitates, goes into the lane, running jump shot. Joey Kitt, he's got 10 here in the quarter.
You can see he's feeling it because he's taking charge, Cam. He's bringing the ball up court with authority, and he's going to the middle, and if you don't stop him, he's going to put it up.
5-point lead and a run of 8 unanswered points for Central. Bishop Guilfoyle is going to hang on for 1 here as they close out the first quarter of play. Pass onto the baseline, taken away. Kitt comes out with it. He's got to take a shot at the buzzer, takes it off the glass. It's no good. We've completed 1 quarter of play. And the score, the Central Scarlet Dragons 16, the Bishop Guilfoyle Marauders 11.
Thank you for calling Sam Satellite City.
I've got some questions about that direct satellite system that I just bought.
Yes, ma'am.
Why can't I get all my favorite channels like I used to get with cable?
To receive all the same channel combinations which are currently available on your cable system, you'll probably have to subscribe to more than one programming supplier.
Will that cost more than cable?
It just might.
You didn't tell me that.
You didn't ask.
And why can't I get my local stations anymore?
To get local programming, you'll also need a regular antenna.
A regular antenna?
We have an excellent selection of regular antennas.
I want my cable back.
Eight minutes of basketball have been played, and there you see the team in the lead at the moment. The Central Scarlet Dragons leading 16-11. And Joey Kitt, boy, he is doing it here tonight.
He had a great first quarter. And I tell you 2 things here, Kim. Number 1, BG's going to have to start looking inside. They're not hitting their outside shot, and Central's sealing that inside off. They're going to have to be able to work inside out. And secondly, they're going to have to find some way or somehow to stop Kitt. He's come down, getting the flow of the game, and Central's running the court very well, and Kitt's having a good night so far in the first quarter, and that's a difference right here.
Bishop Guilfoyle now with the basketball here at the outset. They tried to work it for 1 shot there at the end, lost the ball after controlling it for about 25 seconds of play.
Yeah, and I think what happens there when you don't have Ryan Listokey in the lineup there puts a lot of pressure on Josh, and you got a young guy just shooting the ball right now. It's a good move by Brad Cayley, Kim. That's what they got to do. They got to go inside, start scoring, and be able to kick it out when they stop them to be more effective.
Cayley, his first 2 for the night. The lead is cut to 3, 16-13. 7:35 remaining in the first quarter, and we have a blocking foul called against Central away from the ball. Going to be a foul against number 42 or 43. Let's wait to check that. As returning to the, Steve Mix into the lineup for the first time, a 6'1 junior for Bishop Guilfoyle. And it looks like back into the game is Matt Imes for Central. That was a foul against number 43, Chris Moses. He picks up his second in the game.
And Steve Missick is one of the ball players, Cam, that, yeah, he's around the ball all the time. He hustles and scraps.
Josh Baker misses the three that could have tied the ball game. Central with the rebound. Williams will bring it up across the timeline. To Kitt. Kitt onto the right side. 18-footer is good by number 42. And that's Tom Schaefer with his first points, and the lead is back up to 5 with 7 minutes remaining in the first half of play.
Central's shooting the ball very well. They're hitting their open shots, and that's a problem for BG at this time.
Cross-court pass, now going inside, and Cayley can't handle the basketball, and it's picked out of the air. Ahead to Williams. Williams trying to get it back to his teammate. Tipped away. Williams gets it back, though, inside. Shot misses inside by Imes, and things get a little bit physical inside, and a foul's going to be called against Andy McConnell. Andy kind of shakes his head a bit. Not total agreement with that call by the official, but Andy picks up his second. And that is foul number 5 called against Bishop Guilfoyle here in the first half of play. And a couple of subs, number 24 and number 32 into the lineup for Central. That's Fred Heaton, number 24, and Robbie Keith, number 32. And into the lineup, number 54, Mike Gartman, a 6'4" sophomore.
Seen a lot of players tonight, Cam, and I think the reason is that they got to get players ready for the playoffs and everything. But this is a very fast, physical game right now.
Ball is inbounded to Kitt. Kitt, he's open and he connects. Kitt's got a dozen in the basketball game. And Tony, you're going to have to help me out here.
Paskogan.
Paskogan came into the game.
Tony Paskogan.
Okay. He's into the game as well for Bishop Guilfoyle. Wearing the number 30 there with the ball at the top of the circle. Onto the right side. Baker passes inside, and it's picked off. No. BG retains control of the ball. Swinging the ball around to the right side into the hands of Baker.
Yeah, they're doing a nice job passing the ball, Ken, but they got to get that ball inside, and there's a shot that they didn't want, but all their shots have been basically perimeter shots except for one Cayley made.
Ratzenberger's shot won't stay in. We're going to have a foul here called, or a double foul. There's number 54 and number 30 roughing one another up. That's Gartman going against Imes, and we're going to have fouls both ways. So Gartman picks up his first. Imes also picks up his first. That's 6 now called against BG, and that is now 4 called against Central.
Yeah, and this is a situation where you got two big boys just going at it, banging, and that's a good call to settle them down right away.
Anyway, that's foul number 3 called against Central. Ball is inbounded. Goes backcourt, but since it wasn't touched, not a backcourt violation. And we're going to have a charging call here against Imes. So Matt Imes picks up a couple of fouls in a period of about 10 seconds of play. Sometimes, Tony, something like that is what you need to spark your team.
Exactly, and number 30 for Central is really playing out of control right now. He's trying to play too physical instead of smart, and he came down and passed the ball off and just literally pushed the BG defender to the floor. And, yeah, that's an easy way to get the team back into the game, especially if BG comes down and hits a 3 here or even a 2 to bring him in within 5 or 4 points.
Again, looking to go inside, but defending pretty nicely. The Central Scarlet Dragons. Paskogan won't stay in. Rebound inside on the offensive end. We have a whistle. A foul called against Central inside, and Central pleading their case, but to no avail. And that'll be foul number 5 of the first half against the Scarlet Dragons. They lead by 7, 20-13. BG was up at one point, 11-8. So since then, it's what is that? That's a 12-2 run in favor of Central.
And, you know, and basically it's because Central has shut off the inside game and forced BG to shoot from the outside, and they're basically not hitting their shots tonight, and that's why Central's been so successful.
So the ball is inbounded by the Marauders. 5 minutes remaining. Game moving along very quickly. Only 5 trips to the foul line. Actually, 3 trips. 5 shots taken from the foul line, all by Central, where they have hit 2 of their 5. BG is yet to go to the charity stripe, and that's one of the ways to keep the game moving.
Exactly.
Here's a shot, missing by Baker. Just not connecting from the outside. Kitt brings it up in a hurry from the baseline. Fadeaway jumper misses. The rebound controlled by Central, and a foul called against Bishop Guilfoyle.
And, yeah, there's the factor there that BG's going to have to hit some of those shots, Cam, and because they got to start cannon from the outside to force that defense to open up inside.
Steve Mixich with the foul.
And you know what? Central's going to give BG that shot all night because it seems like the only one taking the shot is Baker and also Ratz. So somebody has to take charge inside, Cam, to open this offense up for BG. And as it's happening, you know, BG's not hitting, and Central's coming down and penetrating and doing a good job offensively in their end.
Tom Schaefer hits the first. 6-foot senior has one more coming. He cans them both. This lead is up to 9 now.
You're seeing a Central team here with a lot of confidence coming after coming off of last night's win, Cam, and it's just carrying over.
And they also played Wednesday night, came up with a victory. I'm not sure who their opponent was, but this time of year, if you have any sort of cancellations, it can get pretty much gummed up.
Right.
Here's a pass inside. We have a foul from behind called against Central. BG will go to the line. Last night on radio, I covered the game between Williamsburg and Bellwood, and in that game, Williamsburg still has 6 games remaining in their regular season, and that's 6 games in about 10 days.
And that's good and bad. First of all, the good part is you're playing a lot. The bad part is you get tired, fatigue, and hopefully there's some games where they don't have to play their starters the whole time, and you worry about injury at this point. And this is where Guilfoyle is. They're missing a key part of their team here, and Ryan Listokey, and they're having to make adjustments. And Central, on the other hand, is coming off, 2 wins. You said this is their 3rd game in a row. But you know what, Ken? When you win 2 out of 2, the fatigue factor doesn't bother you. It's not there because you're on adrenaline then.
Mixich hits 1 of 2 from the line. Lead is cut to 8. What's the report on Listokey?
Well, Dave mentioned that, he's healing, and they hope to have him back for the first week of the playoffs, which is the 19th, I think you said. So, there's no sense of bringing him back too early because these games, as we talked earlier, you don't have to win to get into the playoffs. You're already in it, so come in healthy, if anything.
Good, strong move to the basket. In control that time was Matt Imes. He's got 4 in the game, and the lead now is at its biggest. It's 10. And 24-14.
Right now, Cam, you're seeing the athleticism take its toll on Bishop Guilfoyle. Central's very athletic, and that's the difference, I think, right here. They're able to move on defense in that zone, and they move well offensively.
Although if BG would just be hitting half of their outside shots, they'd be in the game.
Exactly. It's not to say they won't. It's just that somebody here has to step up, whether it be Gartman, whether it be Josh Baker, or whoever. Somebody has to put the ball in the hoop.
And Baker tosses it inside. It's tipped out of bounds, apparently off the hands of Central. So BG will try it again. They're down by 10, 24-14, 3:38 remaining. Here in the first half of play, Kem Mayer along with Tony Lepore on Cablecom Sports of Blair County. Inbounding the basketball. No foul on the play as it's inbounded. Mixich gets it off. Peskogan, a miss, and the rebound drops into the hands of Kitt. He's out of there like a shot out of a cannon. Misses the jumper, and we have a foul inside, and that's going to be a foul against Bishop Guilfoyle. The reaction from Gartman says, I think they nailed him. And that is a foul against Mike Gartman. That's his 2nd in the game. And up to the foul line will step Matt Imes in the bonus situation.
And both teams are out there playing hard, Ken. It just seems that when the ball's not bouncing your way and going in the hoop, everything seems to go against you, although that's not the situation, but that's the way it feels sometimes as a player. And BG, as bad as they're playing, they're down 11 points, but, they're the kind of team that can get hot and reduce 11-point lead to basically nothing. But the thing is here, Cam, they can't be trading baskets. They got to put a stop on Central.
And Central 4 of 4 from the line here in the second quarter after hitting just 2 of 5 in the first quarter. And that lead is up to a dozen. 26-14, 3:24 remaining here in the first half of play. Baker to Peskogan, back to Baker. Peskogan had a shot there for a moment, didn't want to take it.
Right, see, they need somebody to do that.
Trying to pass it inside, ball tipped away. I believe Kitt was in the middle of that. He passes ahead. Here's a 3-point shot, a miss, and we have a foul called against Bishop Guilfoyle. And those are the ones that, boy, you gotta question. Dave Dietzel, after the 3-point shot, backed into the fellow that shot it and picked up the foul.
Right, and the old golden rule is you never foul a jump shot shooter, and it just goes to show the way things are going tonight. And BG has to, get something going here, Cam. And I tell you what, just watching this first half so far, and correct me if I'm wrong, I have yet to see a bounce pass into the key from Guilfoyle, and the ball's getting tipped away. You know, the bounce pass is probably one of the safest passes to get into the key, but it hasn't happened.
Robbie Keith misses at the line. He's shooting 3 here. Even though I know that's one of those, and he hits the second, and it almost appeared that while the foul occurred after the shot. I didn't know whether they were going to give him 3 or the bonus, but he hits 2 of the 3.
I guess that's pretty close as you can get coming to the continuation rule of the NBA, where if you think you're going to shoot, you get 2 shots automatically.
28-14, 3:03 remaining here in the third quarter, or the second quarter of play. And Bishop Guilfoyle needs to get some scoring. A pass inside, and the shot, and a miss, and a foul here called against Central.
And you know what? As I'm watching here, Cam, Central's doing an excellent job. They're forcing Guilfoyle's offense further away from the basket. The further away they get from the basket, the harder it is to make that penetration pass inside. And then you start looking for your shot quicker than you want to. And usually the guy that needs to take the shot isn't the guy that has the ball. So right now they're having a couple things. They're not getting the ball into the right hand, and nobody's hot either at this time for them.
Mixic at the line, hits the first, earns the bonus. That foul was called against Tom Schaefer, his second in the game.
That's their first point in a long time, Cam. They were stuck on 14 for a while.
Yeah. And they hit them both.
What BG has to do here is they have to tighten up that defense, you know, give up 1 shot, no more after that, and then come back and score. If they can get the game into single digits at halftime, they're in this ball game, Cam.
Joe Myers, number 32, 5'8" senior, checks into the Bishop Guilfoyle lineup. BG playing man-to-man defense. Not a whole lot of surprises with that.
No, not really.
And you and I talked about the fact that you and I first met up back in 73 it was, when Tom Lane was here, and then when you took over as head coach, and you know, hustle and gritty and you know, gutsy. Those were adjectives that have been used to describe those teams in the 70s, the teams in the 80s, and this team here in the 90s.
I guess tradition sets here differently than it does with other schools, but that's the nature of the game here, Cam.
Good hustle there by Kit. Goes into the hallway there. Good camera work there.
Excellent job of getting out of the way. But, you know, going back to what we were just saying, Cam, you know, Guilfoyle has to play that way. And I think what Dave looks for, you know, definitely the win's important, but you got to see how your kids are playing at this point. If they're playing hard, that's all you can ask for, because everything else you can correct. It's trying to get someone to play hard, it's really tough.
And they're playing hard, and yet he's trying to find somebody that can put the ball in the hole. And here the ball is taken away by Central. Getting it back, though. Good look. Inside for 2. A good look there, and finishing it off is Mike Ratzberger. And the lead is cut back down to 10. BG with 4 unanswered points. And that doesn't seem like maybe a whole lot, but defensively, they've been doing a pretty good job and held this Central team to just 28 points. Here's a turnover. BG gets the ball back. Maybe Mr. Moe can swing a little bit BG's way before intermission.
Right, and that's exactly right, Cam. You got a 10-point game here. If you hit a 2 or 3 here, you're down to 8 or 7 points. You know, in today's ball game with the 3-point arc, you can be down 9 points. People don't look at that anymore. They look and say, hey, we're only down 3 shots, not 9 points. So there's a big difference here. This is a big possession for Guilfoyle right here.
Yeah, and off the foot of Central, out of bounds.
They got to be patient, Cam, and they got to get their shot.
Kogan with the basketball. Onto the right side. Good pass onto the baseline, and the shot is good by number 24, Mixic. He's got 5 of the 9 points here in the second quarter, and in fact, that lead is cut to 8.
That's a 6-0 run for Guilfoyle, Cam. They're right back in the ball game here.
28-20. Now it's important for Central to do something with the ball. They've got to maybe be a little bit more patient they've been in the past, and you know what they're doing with the ball. Here's Kit.
That's a tough basket. Clutch basket.
18-foot jumper from the top of the circle, and Joe Kit, 14 points to the basketball game. Lead back up to 10, 30-20, 30 seconds remaining in the first half of play. This first half has just sailed along. Central fans wanted to walk there against Pascogan.
See, Tony has to penetrate on that. They're giving him the penetration. They're cutting off the passing lane. He's not taking advantage of the penetration on that.
And if he penetrates, that pulls the defense
exactly. In. He can kick out then. or they're going to let him go and stay with the shooters, and he's going to have a good 10, 15-footer.
We're down to 6 seconds. Paskogan this time drives in. Good look inside, but can't handle the basketball. Coming out of it was Central. No time to get the shot off, and we have completed 2 quarters of play at halftime. It's Central 30, Bishop Guilfoyle 20. We'll be back with more on Cablecom Sports right after this message.
What's your idea of Saturday Night Fever? Well, if you had multi-channel HBO, you'd always have 3 great choices every Saturday night. You could go for suspense, a family movie, or maybe a drama. It's your choice. Whatever you're looking for, when you sit down to watch, chances are you'll find it on multi-channel HBO. 3 great channels, 3 great choices. Every Saturday night, choose your HBO.
Welcome to Sam's Satellite City. May I help you?
I'm interested in DBS.
Direct broadcast satellite. You'll need a dish, a receiver decoder, some converters, connectors, various and sundry electronic components.
I need all this?
This will get you started. Say, how many TVs do you have?
3.
Well, then, you're just going to need a few more things, aren't you?
There you go. Of course, this doesn't include your monthly subscription fees.
That costs extra?
And if you still want to watch local network programming, you'll also need a regular antenna. We have an excellent selection of regular antennas.
30-20 to score at halftime. It's Central leading Bishop Guilfoyle, Tony, and in the first half of play, as we've talked, Central really came to Bishop Guilfoyle at the outset. Bishop Guilfoyle's main problem is they haven't been able to hit their shots.
Right, and you know what? And they're only 10 points down, but there's a couple of things to that is, you know, Mr. Kitt took over real early in the game, and he got hot, and he broke the momentum here when they were only down 8 points. He hit a big basket and put them up 10. So he's doing a real good job. Central's scrambling, they're hustling, and they're forcing BG to shoot from the outside, Kem, and BG hasn't been able to hit that shot. I still say they got to get the ball somehow inside, and as we talked about, you know, inside out. You know, if you got the shot inside, you take it. If not, you can dish it out. But at least you move the defense. You know, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's not very good, and they're only down 10 points, or like we used to say, 3 or 4 buckets.
Tony, something that you had mentioned there during the commercial break is you said you look in the stands and you see so many of the same faces. That's part of this family affair that goes on here at Bishop Guilfoyle that continues year after year, generation after generation.
Right, and that's an excellent point. I mean, they're loyal supporters. You know, there's been some tough times there. I know, you know, when I coached under Tom Lane, we went to the States. I was fortunate enough to win at District 6 and came back. And then when Dave and I were here, we had some rough times. There's that cycle, that turnover where, you know, kids weren't, you know, the kind of kids that you thought you would get, and things didn't work out. But the fans never gave up. I mean, they were always there. And that's something that's implanted. And everybody has their following. You like to see it because a school of this magnitude that plays an excellent schedule and competes with the big boys day in, day out on the girls and the boys level, the fans have a lot to do with that. Kids love to come out and play to fans because, you know, in today's day and age, they call it showtime.
Well, you know, we're obviously more familiar here with Bishop Guilfoyle High School, but certainly the same thing holds true with Central. You know, there's so much family in that cove that they have the same thing going, and then those are fans that obviously you're not used to seeing in these stands, but the Central players and the coaches, Reggie, who's been around for 14 years, is used to seeing those fans, and that's so important at the high school level.
Right, and that's an excellent point. You know, and that wasn't, I didn't mean to take anything away from it. They have a great tradition, and in the last 5-6 years, Reggie Nevins has done an excellent job. I can remember when they had the Biffle Boy, and they did well. I can remember seeing them up St. Francis playing in the District 6 AAA championship game, and I mean, there was just like the whole town was closed down, and there's a lot of communities like that, and it's so good because when they leave high school, Cam, and they get into college is becoming more of a business, you know, then you're into the pros, so you can't sort of take the sport and the extracurricular activity word out of high school ball yet. I mean, these kids are competitive, and with the nature of today's society, it's tough enough as it is for them, but it's good to see the following and the support, and kids respond to that. That's the greatest thing, you know. Just being around the kids, as you mentioned earlier, just being and seeing them work and play hard.
Tony Lepore with me tonight. I'm Kem Mayer on Cablecom Sports. Bishop Guilfoyle and Central boys basketball from Bishop Guilfoyle High School at halftime. The score, Central 30, Bishop Guilfoyle 20. We'll be back with more in our second half right after these messages from Cablecom Sports.
I don't know, Rosie. TV land.
You're soaking in it.
A TV network? Won't it dry out my skin?
Relax. TV Land is made for watching 24 hours a day.
That's right. You can watch all day and all night without ever drying out your skin, and that's a guarantee. Wish you were here.
The Central Scarlet Dragons leading 30-20 after the first half of play. Kem Mayer and Tony Lepore for Cablecom Sports in the first half of play. And right from the outset, Joey Kitt took charge. Joe with 14 points in the first half for Central. 6 points in the game for Matt Imes. 4 points in the basketball game for Tom Schaefer. 2 apiece for Keith, Lehman, and Williams. For Bishop Guilfoyle High School, 6 points for Mike Ratzitzberger in the first half of play. 5 for Miksich coming off the bench. 4 for Dietzel, 3 for Baker, and 2 points for Cayley. So 30-20 the halftime score. Tony Lepore with me, and as we've said before, if you're just tuning in, Tony, of course, a former coach here at Bishop Guilfoyle High School. And when you watch a game, you watch it a little differently than maybe some other people might do it.
Yeah, you try to anticipate, Kem. You try to pick up what the move is and what the teams are doing, what you can do down defensively. You're making transactions and transitions as the game's going. But I'll tell you what, BG's not in bad shape. They're down 10 points. They've had a very poor shooting first half. I don't have the stats here to find out what it was. But, you know, being down 10 points isn't bad. What they got to do, Kem, is they got to play their ball game, tighten up on defense. Joey Kitt, if he continues to shoot like that, it's going to be a long night for Bishop Guilfoyle. But if somehow if they can control him and take over this game, they're going to be back in the game here. We're going to see a heck of a second half here.
Bishop Guilfoyle coming into the game with a record of 12-9. We've talked a little bit about the playoffs. They're seeded 5th, and their first playoff game will be against Blacklick Valley at Central Cambria High School on February 19th. As far as the 5th seeding, Dave Benn said he was just fine with that. He thought that was a fair seeding. There have been some years where they felt that they've been penalized because they may not quite have the record, even though they go up against those Quad A teams. But happy with the 5th seeding. And Central seeded 2nd behind Lewistown. But last night, of course, they knocked off Lewistown 61-52. Central's first playoff game, one night later, February 20th at Hollidaysburg Junior High. They'll take on the winner of the Phillipsburg Penn Cambria game. But right now, it's Bishop Guilfoyle and Central in boys action. Second half is just underway.
And BG has to get some points put out here by some other players, Kem. They can't look for Baker to do everything. Somebody else has to step up here.
Now, for the first quarter, you talked about the thought that you were looking for them to try to force the ball in more. Here's a shot taken by Baker, a miss. The follow-up is no good. And Bishop Guilfoyle rebounds, and it's lost out of bounds off the hands of Cayley.
See, and that's a crucial play. That's a ball that he should have had and put back in. But, you know, he was there, and it's just a matter of things going. Right now, they're not going for Guilfoyle, you know, like they should be. But they just got to keep playing hard, Kem, and hope things start falling their way.
And, of course, at this point, Central wants to take their time, but make sure they take good shots. There have been some times where Central's maybe forced up some things that they would rather have back, but that's not surprising with the tempo that Central has played at times, particularly on the transition game.
And Dave Benton has switched to 2-3 zone here, and I think it's because he feels that Central's athleticism was a little too much in the first half, Kem.
And a block inside there by Miksich, and that means on the possession arrow, the ball will stay on the Central end. Good defensive effort there by the 6'1 junior. 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter of play, just underway here in the second half. And from 3, the shot is no good. It goes high off the rim and hits the cable supporting the backboard. And so the ball comes back over to BG. And again, they'll have an opportunity to cut into this 10-point lead.
And it's interesting to see that defensive switch, but I think it's a good one because it changes the pace of the game for Central also.
Paskogan. Top of the circle, the miss. The rebound is lost, but Paskogan comes up with the basketball, and they'll back it off now. Is this a 1-3-1 now put up by Central?
Yeah, they're matching in 1-3-1 here, and they're cutting off the passing lanes, and there's a mistake.
And Williams comes up with the basketball. Brooks Williams, a 5'11 sophomore. Swing it to the left side and back into the hands of Kitt. Now back to Williams.
That last guy, I'm sorry, Cam. that last possession where Guilfoyle just lack of recognition on a point guard. When you get into a 1-3-1 or an odd front, that's called, the offense has to be into an even front because they got to split the difference. And Guilfoyle didn't recognize that, and that's how Central got the steal.
Good pass onto the baseline. Nothing there, though, and so bring it back outside. You know, this Williams is just a sophomore, and there's some characteristics that he seemed to pick up from Joe Kitt, and not a bad guy to try to pick up some characteristics from.
No, Joe Kitt's a leader, and he's going to instill anything he can onto any of these young players and help them out, and that's a good sign of a good athlete, to be able to help out your teammates.
After the Central turnover, BG with the ball back there has not been any scoring in this second half in the first 2.5 minutes.
See, that ball hasn't gone inside yet, Cam. They have to get it inside. Right there, he's open, and he's not getting it to him. There it is.
Cayley gets it over to Baker. Baker called for the walk.
Yeah, he did. He put the ball down, and it was a good move. See the difference? See the shot open up on that, Cam, when the ball went inside and he got the cutter. And that's what they got to do. But the only thing is they got to finish their plays.
Williams with it. He'll bring up across the timeline. The Central Scarlet Dragons in their road red uniforms. Passing it outside from 3. The shot is good. The 3-banger by Robbie Keith. He's got 5 in the basketball game, and the lead is up to 13 now. It took 3 minutes, nearly 3 minutes, for either team to score here in the second half.
Right, you know, they cooled down here, and now Central's back in that 1-3-1. They're playing a tough zone there.
Cayley's shot won't fall, and the rebound. Keith on the floor, or Kidd on the floor, comes up with the basketball. As he's standing up, it drops in his hands. Williams from 3-point range, a couple of back-to-back 3-bangers, and we may look for a timeout.
That's it.
And there it comes. Dave Benton calls the timeout as Central gets their biggest lead of the night at 36-20. It comes to the 4:36 mark. BG trailed at one point 28-14 in the first half of play, able to cut it to 28-20. So since then, 8 straight points for Central, and that goes back to the final, what was that, the final 60 seconds of the first half of play.
And that right there, Kem, you saw a coach's nightmare. You make a defensive change, you come out in the first couple of possessions, it works for you. You don't come down offensively and take an advantage.
Let's listen here.
The guys that are opposite in that flashing the ball. We're just standing and waiting for things to happen. We got to start flashing the ball a little bit. Don't just stand there and wait for things to happen. Come on, baby. Everybody's going to do it.
And Dave brought out a good point in that the kids are standing around. They're, instead of reacting, instead of being the actor, they're reacting to the defense of Central. And all Dave was saying in that huddle, he wants them to move. He wants them to make things happen, you know, create. You know, if anything, and that goes back to playing hard on offense too, Ken. You got to create. The most dangerous person in offense is the person without the ball.
Bishop Guilfoyle brings the ball up. They have yet to score here in the second half. Central's only been able to hit 2 shots, but they were both from beyond the arc, and they came within about 20 seconds of one another. And we have a walk called against McConnell. McConnell not happy with the call, but apparently they say he moved both of his pivot foot.
Yeah, that's that unforced error. That's, you know, when nobody's in front of you and you make that mental mistake, Cam. And this is what's boiling down to now. Guilfoyle can't, there's not a 16-point shot in the book here. So they're going to have to play defense and come out and play hard to get the game back to where they can make a run at it.
And there's a situation where the ball gets loose and it falls into Central's hands.
Right.
I mean, they were hustling, but so was Bishop Guilfoyle. But some nights you have nights like that.
Right. And, you know, it just seems that timing's wrong for Guilfoyle with, you know, not playing well here at this point.
Onto the baseline, into Cayley. Cayley, turnaround jumper from 10 feet. Walks around a little bit and drops through for 2. And the first points of the second half come at the 3:47 mark for Bishop Guilfoyle. The lead is cut to 14, 36-22.
Yeah, you can't go 4.5 minutes, Kem, a quarter without a bucket, and that's what Guilfoyle did, and that's why the lead is the way it is.
The blocking foul here called against Bishop Guilfoyle. McConnell called for the foul. Not really happy with it. And he looks like he's a spirited young man.
Yeah, Andy's a battler. You know, I can remember Andy from his freshman days. You know, he's just a hard worker. He loves the game, and, you know, his weakness is his size, but his heart is his strength, and that's why he's playing now at the varsity level.
Kitt onto the baseline. Nice left-handed hook shot. Won't drop through for Imes, and Guilfoyle with the rebound. Well, that's the way you like to do it.
Right, exactly. See, they got to get back in this game. It's going to be by playing inside, because when it's not there, they can kick it out. And the lead's cut to 12, from 16 to 12, and you know, again, they got to cut it in half here.
Brad Cayley with the 4 points here in the second half. 36-24, 3 minutes remaining. Kit with the shot, and he's fouled in the play. And that's one of those where Kit heard the whistle coming and made sure he got a decent shot on, so he gets the 2 shots.
He's a creator. You can see he's a very intelligent player, and he knows what he wants to do when he has the ball, and he does it well, whatever that action may be when he's making an advancement to the hoop.
Dave Dietzel commits the foul, and Kit's at the line.
And I think, go ahead, Cam.
I was just going to say 14 points in the game for Kit. Hits the first of the 2.
And you know, and Dave knew it was going to be a tough game, because he stressed that to me. He said the athleticism is very tough for him to defend. But I think what he wants here is not the fact that he's losing. It's just that he's not executing well. His team's not executing well, and that's bothering him. And you know, you get into playoff, you got to be beyond that stage where you got to start executing.
Lead back up to 14, 38-24. Drive into the lane. The shot is no good. Take it away. Andy McConnell crashes into Kit. Kit goes to the floor and draws the foul, and Andy McConnell picks up his 4th foul in the basketball game.
And that was a good defensive job there. You know, he held his ground, and he gave Andy room to go up, so there was no problem. Andy just charged into him, took the basket away. And again, Kit's had 2 momentum breakers, Ken. First half, he hit the bucket to go from 8 to 10 points. Today, or just right now, rather, he takes a charge of taking a bucket away, which would have made a 10-point game again.
Miksic into the basketball game. McConnell obviously at the bench now, and we have a foul here called against number 20 of Bishop Guilfoyle. That's Dietzel. Dietzel picks up his 4th in the game, I believe.
I think Dave's asking him, what'd he do? And, you know, I guess we're getting him for hand checking out there. And it's not the NBA where you can put your forearm into him. And, you know, it's just that he got called for that. And that was a good call. You can't hand check out there and keep pushing a guy.
Kogan set to move into the game. Here's a pass inside, and somehow getting away with no one there is Matt Imes. He's got 8 in the game, and the lead is back up to 16, 40-24. And we have a foul away from the ball called this time against Central.
Yeah, number 43.
It's a foul against Chris Moses. Moses picks up his 3rd. Obviously, over the years, you've seen a lot of these Central BG matchups.
Oh, yeah.
The physical play, is this what we're used to seeing between
Definitely.
these 2 teams?
The intensity's there, and you know, both teams play hard and they play tough, and you know, neither one's going to give up their ground. So you're going to see, and on the officiating side, it's a balance thing where you got to let them go and do some things. But you're going to see a hard-fought game here tonight, Cam, which we've seen for 2.5 quarters.
2:15 remaining here in the 3rd quarter of play. Pass into the corner to Miksic. He's double teamed, but gets it to Cayley. Ball knocked away, coming up with the basketball. Good defense there by Central, and then the ball lost. And it will be Central's basketball.
Yeah, you know, it just goes to show you, Josh Baker turned down a 15-foot shot there. And that's not Josh. He looked to kick out and make the extra pass, and it cost him a bucket.
At this stage of the game, do you take that shot if you're open?
I think you got to, because of the fact that nobody's scoring, so somebody got to take it in their hand and start creating something, and it's a good shot.
And there's less than 10 minutes left in the game now. 1:45 remaining in the 3rd quarter of play, and BG's down by 16. Miksic passes back outside, and a foul here called against number 24, Fred Heaton. Heaton, a 5'11 senior, picks up his 1st foul in the basketball game, and that is foul number 2 of the second half, called against Central. BG's already picked up 4.
Yeah, and you know, when you got a scorer like Josh Baker who's not hitting tonight, it puts a little pressure on the other players on his team, because they know they got to step up, and some of these young guys aren't ready for that because they never had to do it, and tonight's a challenge.
Baker with just 3 points in the game, a 3-banger in the 1st quarter. Good look inside. Shot won't stay in, and good strong rebound by Imes, and then a foul. A frustration foul by Ratzenberger. He picks up his 2nd in the game. You could tell Mike, whenever he came out of that, he missed that shot. He wanted to have and he just came right into the back of Imes and picked up the foul.
And the whole thing there, Mike got caught underneath the basket too far, and it hit the back of the rim. And you're right, Kim, it was a frustration foul, and this is what happens, you know. But they got to put their heads together, and they got to. I think what you do right now is, you know, you got to tell them, hey, we got to start playing well. Don't worry about the outcome of the game. Let's start playing well, because if we don't, we can't have negative things carrying over.
Gartman into the game for Bishop Guilfoyle. And also to the game, I believe for the first time, Scott Brady, 6-foot senior, number 14 for the Marauders. 1:28 remaining here in the third quarter of play, 40-16. It's been a 10-4 third quarter. Going for the steal, it's loose on the floor. We have a tie-up. And there's where Baker steps in and gets Mixich, and that's where Baker is one of the leaders on this team in playing, but also in situations like that.
Right, you got to do it. You can't, because you can't get tossed out of this game for something that you're not supposed to be doing, and you shouldn't play basketball that way.
BG can't hang on to the basketball, but we have a reach-in foul here called against number 34, Lehman. And of course, Bishop Guilfoyle, as I said, it just seems like there have been times where they just buttered up the ball before they've gotten it. But that's because Central has been so aggressive on defense.
Exactly.
BG realizes we've got to just do everything half a speed faster.
Right, and that's a good point, Cam, because that's their athleticism and their quickness. You know, you can't take away speed and quickness, you know, because once somebody has it, it's hard to negate. But what you got to do offensively is play a little smarter here.
Gartman dishes outside from three. There's a big one. Number 32, Joe Myers off the bench with that three-banger.
They need to stop here now, Cam, and then get back into the game. Hopefully with another three here. That's what they're looking for.
Williams goes to the baseline, walks with the basketball. 49.7 seconds left here in the third quarter. Kitt will come back into the basketball game.
And there's a good move by Reggie. He saw things getting a little out of hand here, and they weren't, running the offense and doing the things he wants to do, so he put their leader back in.
Up across the timeline, Baker with the ball. Gets it to Myers. Myers, a 5'8" senior. .30 seconds remaining here in the third quarter of play. BG trailing by 13. Central not making it easy.
Yeah, Central's going to let anybody shoot but Josh Baker.
And the ball taken away by Kitt. Gets it over to Williams. Williams goes in for the layup from the right side for two. Brooks Williams, 5 points in the quarter, 7 overall. The lead is back up to 15 with 4 seconds left. Ball tipped away. Kitt comes up with the basketball. He's got to get a shot off before the buzzer sounds. Too late. We've completed 3 quarters of play. And Central gets that lead back up to 15. It's Central 42, Bishop Guilfoyle 27.
Cities, may I help you?
I'm interested in DBS.
Direct broadcast satellite. You'll need a dish, a receiver, decoders, and converters, connectors, various and sundry electronic components.
I need all this?
This'll get you started. Say, how many TVs do you have?
3.
Well, then, you're just going to need a few more things, aren't you?
There you go. Of course, this doesn't include your monthly subscription fees.
That costs extra?
And if you still want to watch local network programming, you'll also need a regular antenna. We have an excellent selection of regular antennas.
.27 the score. It's a 15-point lead for the Central Scarlet Dragons, looking for back-to-back-to-back wins. Of course, they came up with the big win last night against Lewistown, 61-52. Lewistown top-seeded in AAA action. Central seeded number 2, and they're carrying the momentum from that win into this game here tonight.
Right, and this is what the coach wants his team to do at this stage: start playing well, making good decisions and doing the right things, and hustling and grabbing loose balls and rebounds. And on the other side, Dave has to be a little frustrated at this point. Can't get anything to click. The kids are playing hard, you'll never doubt that, but just like right decisions, smart decisions aren't being made. And the thing I think that's standing out here, Cam, against a team that's very athletic like Central, you got to be able to protect the ball, and they haven't been able to do that tonight.
Central with the basketball here at the outset. Kitt, 18-footer, a little long, rebound by Baker.
That was a design play. He came off a double screen, had an open shot, just didn't make it. One of the few he didn't make tonight.
Myers, who connected on that big three to cut the lead to 13, had the ball there for a moment. Bounce pass onto the baseline. Inside for two is Josh Baker. Josh Baker, 5 points in the game now. Lead is cut to 13 and a foul against Mixit. He picks up his second in the game, and that is number 6 in the second half, called against the Marauders.
And there's a situation, Ken, where the next foul, they go to the line 1-and-1, and you know, what's happening is they're going to be getting 3 shots because they'll be at the line at 1-and-1. So BG has to play a little smarter defensively.
Central looking to inbound the ball and tipped out of bounds by Brady.
And now you're going to see all full, all out full court press here. They got nothing to lose, Ken. They're down 13 points and long way to go in this game yet.
Ball inbounded by Central, hustling up across the timeline. Keith with the basketball, stopped by some good D there by Baker. Bounce pass onto the left side, and we have a foul here called against Bishop Guilfoyle. Interesting, right before that whistle came, Lehman used that left arm to try to get the defender off him, but the defender called for the foul. And that's Brady with the foul. That's his first in the game, and that is number 7 against BG. So to the line in the bonus situation will step number 34, Matt Lehman.
Yeah, and sometimes that's a situation or a rule that coaches don't understand, especially when it goes against you. You wonder if your defender reaches, he gets slapped with a foul. If the offensive guy puts his hand out to protect, he's allowed to do that. And but they say he's not gained advantage, and that's what happens.
Good passing inside for 2. Finishing off is Mike Gartman, his first 2 in the game. Lead is cut to 11, 42-31.
You won't see any quitting Bishop Guilfoyle here, so Central's going to have to play sharp and play hard and go from there.
Kitt won't stay in. Rebound by Imes. Whistle before the shot. Foul here called against Bishop Guilfoyle. Setting up the end of a game, you folks that weren't staying with the Cincinnati-Tulane game last night, my goodness gracious. 2 seconds left, in case you didn't hear about it. The ball was inbounded by Cincinnati under the Tulane basket. They were trailing, and a long pass, an 80-foot pass right on the mark to a moving Danny Fortson, who laid it in to give Cincinnati that win last night. And here's the shot and a miss. I just had to add that. I mean, that was so exciting. It was like a quarter till midnight last night. I was up watching the end of that game. Imes with the miss, BG with the rebound. A chance to cut this lead down to 9, maybe 8 if they can connect from outside. Nice ball movement inside, moving along the baseline.
And this is what Dave Benton said earlier, Cam, about moving without the ball and don't stand still. Make things happen. It's exactly what Guilfoyle's doing. You got Central throwing up shots uncharacteristic. They got a foul against Central, pushing off, getting a rebound there.
And so the shift has swung to Bishop Guilfoyle's way, and I wouldn't be surprised if PG scores here to see Reggie call a timeout. He has not used the timeout yet tonight.
Well, you got to stop the momentum because the emotions get too high and you get out of control, and that could really hurt you.
Onto the baseline, swinging outside from 3. He's due. He hits it, and a foul is called inside against Central. That's going to be a foul against Schaefer. A couple of fouls here in a matter of about 10 seconds of play each end of the court for Schaefer. And Josh Baker with a 3-banger trying to and cuts that lead down to 6.
And the hardest thing here now, Cam, is they got the emotions up for Guilfoyle here, and you got a timeout as you predicted by Central. Guilfoyle still has to keep the intensity up, and what has happened is the full court pressure has taken Central out of their game a little bit, and rather than slowing it down, they want to keep the hot hand and go for the hoop. And then you have one ball player uncharacteristic get out of control, and it costs you. And here's a possible 4-point play here, Cam.
BG trailing 40-24 at the 2:20 mark of the third quarter of play. So they were down by 16. We've had about a minute and 40 seconds since then, and BG has outscored them 12-2. Let's listen to the huddle here with Dave Benton.
If they're only ready with 2 guys, you make sure you're going now.
And there's a situation, Cam, where you can feel the adrenaline flowing, and Coach Benton's designing what to do, and BG players looking at each other says, hey, we're only down 6 points. Don't quit, don't quit. See, now you're starting to see the teamwork, the chemistry. And believe me, at this stage, Cam, chemistry is a big